Hi there and welcome to another PSD2 spoon-fed Photoshop tutorial. I'm Gavin Steele and I'm going to be taking you through Jonny's spectacular concept art in Photoshop. All of the steps are over at psdtoots.com. You can check out the final image that we're aiming for here. And you can check out more of our videos over at vimeo.com/psdtoots. And you can check out the images used over at the Stock Exchange and the brushes that we used over at DeviantArt, and all the links are right here on the psdtoots.com tutorial page. Don't forget, in the plus section you can download all of the files that you need for this tutorial. Start playing around with it yourself. Let's head over to Photoshop and see where we're up to. So I've already added in my cityscape and my countryscape, and all I've done is use the burn tool and I've just burnt the areas that I think are going to be in shadow from our final images. Okay, so the cityscape is going to tower over, and I've just added in, using the burn tool, some shadow where I think the images are going to lay down over the land. Okay, like so. I cut round my cityscape using the pen tool, and I just simply zoomed in, went round each of the images all the way around, like so. Control clicked, made a selection, no feather, and then hit the delete key. Okay, and that's how I went about doing that. So the first thing you need to do once you've got this far is duplicate this layer, and we're going to move over to this left hand side over here. As you can see, I've already done that. You then need to burn, or you can do this before you duplicate it, the sides of the buildings. Okay, where is the shadow going to fall? Now if we think the sun's coming over here from the left, then the shadow is going to be on all these parts down here. Okay, so you're just burning these parts to make them that little bit darker. Okay, just like that. And again, you can do that after you've duplicated it or before, and then when you duplicate it you just drag it over. And then all I've done with this one on the side is, again using the pen tool, I've just cut out this middle area here and some of the parts over here. It's not perfect, but for this tutorial obviously you can spend the time and get where you want with your image. So I'm going to insert a couple more layers above my top layer, and we're going to use the brushes that I got from the DeviantArt link. Again, you can check that link out over at step 5. Okay, and that should take you to this page here. And then just click on the download button and you should be away with those brushes. Okay, so I'm going to head over to my brush tool, make sure I've got white selected as my foreground colour, head down to the bottom of my brushes, and you can see we've got all kinds of space and galaxy brushes here. So I'm going to use this one here, the corner one, and I'm just going to play around with the size of that, where I want to position it. Just about there looks fine. And then I'm going to transform that, and I'm just going to stick it in out there. Okay, now we've got, unfortunately, some straight edges here, so I'm just going to use my eraser tool and make sure it's nice and feathered, no hardness selected, and you can lower your opacity down to about 46, something like that, and we're just going to click away the raw edge of the brush, like so. And then obviously we're going to get rid of these parts at the bottom because we really don't need them. And then for the parts that are over our image, we can just command click on that layer, like so, and that selects it for us, but we're still on our top layer, and if we hit delete, that will delete any of the stars that appear within those buildings. Okay, and there's a few more down here that I didn't quite pick up on, and we can just get rid of. So there's my first planet. I'm going to add a new layer, and again you can label all of these layers: planet, planet 1, big planet, corner planet, cityscape, landscape, and so on. Head back over to my brush tool. This time I'm going to create maybe a couple of planets, some starbursts, so this one here. Let's add that in, see how that looks. Again, a little bit big. Let's lower that down a little bit. Okay, again, I'm going to transform that. Bring it a little bit over to the right. Brilliant. Going to hit enter there. And again, head over to your eraser tool just to get rid of those straight edges. Literally just going to click a few times down the sides. Like so. Again, up the top. Now, there's a number of ways you can do this, but for speed's sake, just going to use the feathered eraser tool just to get rid of those straight edges. And already you can see that's starting to look pretty good. Again, I command click on my cityscape, hit delete, and then just get rid of the ones at the bottom. Okay, so you should see I've got those stars going down in between the buildings as well, and they all look pretty good. I'm just going to one overall opacity drop, maybe down to about 20% there, just on this area here, just to add a little bit of depth. Okay, so I'm happy with that, and of course you can add as many planets as you want to your design, the many corner planets and so on, but I like this. It makes this planet look like it's a lot closer to the moon than the Earth actually is, and obviously it's such a clear sky that we can see what's going on in a lot more detail. So I'm happy with that. So now we're going to apply some new layers. We're going to do something now that we're going to be doing quite a few times. We're going to add a new layer to the very top, and on that new layer we're going to go over to image and we're going to apply the image. And what that does is, just click on OK for the normal settings. It's going to apply all of these layers onto that one layer, so it almost merges them all to a new layer. Okay, so I've applied the image, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to render in our filter box, lighting effects, and then we're going to add a 2 o'clock spotlight. Now you need to play around with this. You might need to click on OK a few times and undo and play around until you get an effect that you like, but we don't want the corners to be. Let's just move that over here. In a bit, yeah, click on OK. Okay, I'm happy with that. So once you've done that and you've played around with it, it's going to take you a few attempts to get an effect that you like. I just like these corners to be slightly darkened. Okay, and the light looks like it's coming from the left all the way up to this little planet at the top. We're going to add a new layer on top of that layer. We're going to apply the image again. So image, apply the image. Click on OK. And this time we're going to add a new color balance to that. It's a color balance layer. So image, adjustments, and head down to color balance. Okay. First start off by selecting the midtones, which is the middle little radio button here, and we're going to add that to positive 46, positive 11, positive 13. And then you're going to click on the highlights, and we're going to set them to positive 26, positive 16, and then a -7. Click on OK. And that just adds a lot more warmth to these layers down here. Okay, and also frees up the top parts and really makes them stand out. The next step is we're going to add 2 more gradient maps, or 2 gradient maps to our image, and we do that by coming down to this little half circle down here. We're going to select that and we're going to go to gradient map, and the first one we're going to use is the purple to orange. Let me just bring that over here. So we're using the purple to orange gradient map. Click on OK. We're going to set that to soft light. Okay, and the opacity is going to drop all the way down to 50%. Brilliant. And then we're going to add our second gradient map in exactly the same way, and this time we're going to use the black to white gradient map, which is this one here. Click on OK, set that one to darken, and we're going to lower the opacity of that right down to 20%. Or maybe 30%, let's have a look. 30%, yep, I'm happy with 30%. Again, these areas that you can play around with to get the effect that you want. One more time, we're going to add a new layer, go to image, and we're going to apply that image. Click on OK. And on this new layer, we're going to go to filter, blur, our old friend Gaussian blur. We're going to set it to 1 pixels, just about right. Change the blending mode to soft light and lower that layer right down to 20%. And these are just the little details that are going to make this picture and this image really stand out. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to play around with some levels. So we're going to do layer, new adjustment layer, levels, click on OK. Just going to pinch these in a little bit for detail. OK. And click on OK. Head back over here. Oh, 1 second. Go to curves. And then on your curves, we're going to select custom. We're going to start with the red, and you're just going to play around with these until you get the kind of feel that you're after. So if you decrease the red, you can see you start to get a bluey greeny kind of effect. It's quite nice in the sky area. So I'm going to lower that, maybe bring it up a bit. Top, so you get a bit of pink there. Almost like there's a haze sunset. Head over to the green layer. Just bring that down a little bit. And again, I'm just playing around, dragging the bits that are in the light part of the image. Okay, and then finally my blue layer. Just want to create the idea of space at the top here, and this really nice light area. So let's darken those dark bits. Okay, I'm happy with them. I'm just going to click on OK. And that's basically the tutorial. You just play around with your curves, the gradient maps and your levels until you get something you're happy with. I've gone for a real dark blue kind of space area at the top. And then a nice clear light area of this, kind of the atmosphere from this planet breaking with the atmosphere of space. Some nice detail on these brushes here. And again, playing around with those is going to get you a great effect. So don't forget to check out the tutorial over at psttuts.com. Our other videos over at Vimeo, and all of the files that we used for this tutorial. Thanks very much. I've been Gavin Steele, taking you through PSD2's spoon-fed Photoshop tutorial.